There we go. Hey, family. Welcome to today's conversation. Before we get started, we are talking about life under quarantine. Let me give you the current stats for the COVID-19 pandemic. Right now, as of this minute anyway, we're sitting at 396,981 confirmed cases. 21,786 have recovered. And unfortunately, we've had 12,758 deaths. So that's that update. All right, we got one person present. Welcome, welcome. Let's get into. Hey, Stacy. I was waiting to see who that was. All right, well, let's go. So, hey, family, I am Erin Bull, and welcome to today's conversation, Life Under Quarantine. I wanted to check in with you all as we collectively struggle to adjust to this new normal. Some of us are entering our third week of quarantine or stay-at-home orders. So I wanted to see how everyone's doing. How are you coping with life under quarantine? This is definitely an unprecedented time, not only in America, but all over the world. For all of us, in some shape, fashion, or form, our way of life has been changed. And right now, we have no declared end in sight. So with that being said, it's okay and totally understandable to feel a varying range of thoughts and emotions. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. So do any of these sound familiar? Fear, anxiety, numbness, regret, uncertainty, sadness, anger, frustration, exhaustion, or confusion. Have you felt any of these lately? You know what the term is for that. Well, family, that's grief. What is grief? Why do we feel this way? And what do we do next? Grief is brought on by significant loss. Right now, we have all lost something during this pandemic. The losses range from freedom, jobs, finances, security, housing, relationships, and unfortunately for some, the loss of a loved one. The point of today's conversation is to label these emotions, address them, and find ways to work through them. The fact of the matter is that we will be under these odd circumstances for a significant amount of time. So it's important that we find healthy ways to deal with these emotions. So this is going to be a three-part conversation. We'll look at the collective grief we all feel and address the grief that some individuals are experiencing as a result of the loss of loved ones. Finally, we'll leave on a high note by talking about healthy ways to cope during this pandemic. And as always, leave your comments, and I will definitely address them before the end of this video. So let's look at the stages of grief. The first one is shock and denial. You will probably react to the loss with numb disbelief. You may deny the reality of the loss at some level. The shock provides emotional protection from being overwhelmed all at once. This may last for weeks. Pain and guilt. As the shock wears off, it is replaced with the suffering of unbelievable pain. Although excruciating and almost unbearable, it is important that you experience the pain fully and not hide or avoid or escape from it with drugs or alcohol. You may have guilty feelings or remorse over things you did or didn't do. Life feels chaotic and scary during this phase. Anger and bargaining. Frustration gives way to anger. Hey, cuz. Frustration gives way to anger, and you may lash out on someone else. Try to control this because you don't want to permanently damage your relationships. So this is not a time for the release of bottled up emotion. You may pose a question, why me? You may also try to bargain in vain with the powers that be for a way out of your despair. Like, I'll never drink again if you just let this be over. The fourth stage is depression, reflection, loneliness. Excuse me. Just when your friends may think you should be getting on with your life, a long period of sad reflection will likely overtake you. This is a normal stage of grief, so don't be talked out of it by well-meaning outsiders. Encouragement from others is not helpful to you during this stage of grieving. During this time, you finally realize the true magnitude of your loss, and it depresses you. You may isolate yourself on purpose, reflect on things you did, and focus on memories of the past. You may sense feelings of emptiness or despair. The upward turn. As you start to adjust to life as it is now, your life becomes a little calmer and more organized. Your other symptoms lessen and your depression begins to lift slightly. Reconstruction and working through. As you become more functional, your mind starts working again, and you will find yourself seeking realistic solutions to problems posed by life now. You will start to work on practical and financial problems and reconstructing yourself and your life. And the final stage is acceptance and hope. During this last stage of grief, you learn to accept and deal with the reality of your situation. Acceptance does not necessarily mean instant happiness. Given the pain and turmoil you have experienced, you can never return to the carefree, untroubled you that existed before this tragedy, but you will find a way forward. You will start to look forward and actually plan things for the future. You will once again anticipate some good things to come, and yes, even find joy again in the experience of living. So those are the 7 stages of grief. Excuse me. For those of us just adjusting to this new way of life, we'll probably move through the stages in almost a sequential order. This does not apply to those grieving the loss of a loved one. During this type of loss, you will repeatedly cycle back and forth through the stages, before you finally reach the final stage of acceptance and hope. It's absolutely normal, and just take your time to get through it. So for anybody that's actually grieving the loss of a loved one, there is no step-by-step process. It's just something you have to work through until you get there. But you will. Trust me. To all of those that have lost loved ones, I offer my deepest condolences to you and your family. I know, I know that there are very few words that really mean anything at this time, but you will get through it in due time. Honestly, you will never get over it. That's just a fact. You will never get over it, but you will learn to adjust to life without your loved one. And while these days may be dark right now, they will get better. And I promise you will smile again. So before we leave this topic, I want to remind you all about some other unintended consequences of this horrible pandemic that we're facing. For those that have lost friends and loved ones, they may not be able to give them a proper homegoing right away due to current pandemic mitigation regulations. That's pretty deep. But so basically, right now, for those that have lost loved ones, they're not going to be able to bury them right away. And if so, they're not going to be able to give them a proper grieving process. Also, during this time, people are suffering from addiction, depression, anxiety, and other disorders that may be exacerbated during this time of separation. So let's just keep all these people in our thoughts and prayers during this difficult time. Whew. Dime on wheels. Hey, Miss Lovey is in the building. Yes, it is a constant roller coaster ride. And unfortunately, baby, I know you know. But all right, family. So now for the last part of our conversation, let's talk about some healthy ways to stay sane while we're separated. I got quite a few things to keep busy and sane during this time of separation, but let me know what y'all got. And actually, before I even get into these, I just want to go back over this. So basically what we're talking about is the grieving process on 2 levels, because again, grief comes from loss. So it's not just the actual loss of a loved one, which unfortunately a lot of people around us are experiencing that, but also collectively we're grieving the loss of our normal life. We, saying like 92% of us are not living the same life we were living just 2 months ago, so it's some things to think about. And during this time, there are just different emotions that you're feeling that you may not be able to identify or understand why, but it's actually just like a result of that trauma. Everything was just immediately shut down on us through no fault of our own, so. But all right, let's talk about some healthy things. Let's Get away from the heaviness. All right, so some things you can do during this quarantine, stay at home orders, whatever. Number one, drink water. I had to put that on a list because when I was working and out and about, I didn't drink no water. I had all the excuses in the world for not drinking water. So make sure y'all drinking water. You at home, your refrigerator, right? You eating all day. Grab a bottle of water. Also reach out to old friends, but not the toxic ones, not the ones that you cut off for legitimate reasons. We talking about those friends that maybe y'all schedules were clashing and it was hard to catch up with each other, whatever. Maybe now, y'all can reestablish that connection, but the healthy ones, not the toxic ones, not the exes. You had to block them for a reason. It's probably not the ones you want to reconnect with. Check out the Instagram and Facebook, or check out Instagram and Facebook for DJs hosting quarantine parties. For example, DJ D Nice. I swear I feel like he's always live, but he's on Instagram. You have some on Facebook as well. So that's something to help pass the time. And a lot of them really be going in, especially DJ D Nice. Delete those 5,000 old emails that we all have. You're going to need a new level after, girl. Whoo, child. But delete your old emails that we never delete. Like, you got an email address in 2009 and you still got emails in there from now. Come on now. Delete them. Limit your news intake. So this was my problem because like during this whole thing, I've been keeping my TV on the news like 24/7. So I've been overdoing it. And sometimes I just got to walk away. Limit your time on social media. Because everybody's quarantined, everybody got time on their hands, but nobody will use Google or read a book. So it's some foolishness out there. So just because you got time don't mean you need to spend it all on social media. Get outside. You can still go outside your house. You have to social distance, stay away from other people and whatnot, but get some vitamin D, get some sunlight in your life, a little breeze in your face. Watch a movie or two, like not binge watch for like 8-10 hours. That's not healthy, but watch a couple of movies, help pass the time. Read a book. You can also do ebooks. You ain't got to get the paperback books. You can, and you got Audible and Kindle and Amazon. You have different ways to read a book. Try it. I ain't tried it. I ain't gonna lie, but I'm gonna work on it because I put it on here, so I'm gonna work on it. Find a new hobby. So during this time, which, my mom's retired, but whatever. So she found a couple of new hobbies. She's crocheting, and also she started making masks. Do I have where my mask? Sorry, hold on. Ooh. While we talking about new hobbies, I gotta show off my little mama. So she made this a Star Wars mask. Actually. So that's what she did. She's got a bunch of them in different styles. If you like the bra style, whatever, I'm talking about. She made that one too. Play some online games like Words with Friends or something like that. Not so much Candy Crush or whatever those solo games are, but some games where you can actually have a partner or somebody to play with. We need them. How much? Girl, I don't know. I've been trying to talk her into selling them. She got people that need them first. And then, I don't know. But I'll let you know shortly. But play your online games with actual people, so you can maintain a little connection with the human world. Meditate and or pray, whatever your religious belief is, take some time to connect to that higher being, whatever you call them. Develop a routine, make a schedule. You can find a virtual exercise class that's on my list. I'm not going to pretend like I'm about to take one, but they out there and they free. Allow yourself to relax. So what happens is we get an abundance of time and now we feel like, hey, we got free time. I need to do this. I need to do that and whatever. You can do those things. But also make sure that you're actually relaxing sometime. Not all the time. You don't want to be lazy, but you do need to relax. Also, learn to accept and adjust to the current situation because we in this for a minute. It's gonna be like this for a minute, unfortunately. I mean, this thing is we haven't hit our apex, our peak yet. They're saying that we about there, but even then, it's still just gonna plateau for a minute and then start coming down. So they're not gonna let us out anytime soon. And I personally would not be surprised to see this shelter in place or the quarantine extend beyond the end of the month. But that's my own personal opinion. Other thing is the stimulus package, the CARES package that they put in place, they added the extra to unemployment for 4 months, up to 4 months. So there's a message behind that. But all right. Like we already mentioned, exercise. You can do home exercises. You can find some online exercise and some virtual exercise. And take some time to laugh. Because I know, like there was a couple of days, like part of the reason I wanted to do this video also is because I went through a lot of these emotions. I'm like, why am I feeling this way? What is it? So I did some research. Clearly, I put together a presentation for this. So, I mean, one of the things is that during this time while we're separated, this type of grief is different in that we all feel it. Because traditionally, when you're grieving, say, the loss of a loved one, that person, you're the only one that experiences that. So when you're just emotional for no reason, other people don't have any idea of why that is. Like you were just laughing, now you're crying. They don't understand that level of grief if you haven't lost someone that is that close to you. But currently, under this circumstance, this is something that we all feel. So, you actually got friends in this situation. You're less alone than any other time. But okay, I'm sorry, I got distracted. Start a new business. Maybe your hobby turns into a business, or you have time to figure out maybe some low startup type businesses, or maybe you're an at-home baker, something like that. And also be sure to find resources if you need help. Because again, with this separation, I know that isolation exacerbates a lot of underlying, maybe mental illnesses or things like that. And put any in the links. Maybe I'll do that after. I'll go back and find some in case you need them. But you got these awareness, these hotlines, not just where you got housing, you got food, you got depression, addiction, suicide awareness. You've got hotlines for all of these things. So if you really feel like the walls are just closing in on you and you have too much on you, reach out to somebody. Reach out to somebody, because just because we got a social distance doesn't mean that we are all alone. So please, if you need some help, reach out. Even if you don't know where to start, reach out to somebody and tell them that you need some help. Because trust me, I'm like the Googleologist. Oh, like, oh, you got this going on. Hold on, bling, bling. That's what I do. And also, if you really need something to do, we got a lot of essential workers that need some appreciation out here. Whether you just, sit in your car with them and tell them thank you, hold up a sign saying thank you. Send a letter, a card. You can deliver meals, not necessarily meals that you cook, not because you can't cook, but we are suspicious right now. So, if you go to a restaurant that's open, grab a meal, an extra meal or two, and take it to somebody. Like for these truck drivers, y'all know, soft on the truck drivers. But one of the issues they're running into is the truck stop restaurants are closing at 9 p.m., 10 o'clock p.m., and not opening until 8 o'clock in the morning, whereas they used to have 24-hour restaurants. So, say for the trucking industry or any truckers that get them a little care package, some wipes, some prepackaged anything that they can, that doesn't necessarily have to be refrigerated, some peanuts, tater chips, things like that. Also for like healthcare workers or anybody on the front line, anybody that has to be out right now, you can get a mask if you got them, gloves. If you know how to do these things, you can make face shields. You got kids making face shields for doctors, nurses, and frontline people and stuff. So it's things that we can do to safely and sanely pass the time. And I said this before, but again, remember that we are alone together. So you're not alone. We're separated, but we are not alone. We are in this together. Yeah, I know I got nothing but time on my hands, so y'all gonna be seeing me here on YouTube more often. And a lot of your friends and family are a little bit more available than they used to. So, don't be sitting up there feeling all isolated, because this is not a unique situation. But that's pretty much all that I have, guys. What y'all got? I just want to make sure that everybody's staying safe and healthy during this difficult time for our country and our globe. Because this is definitely unprecedented time. That's all I can say. Like I said, I just wanted to reach out. I appreciate y'all coming and hanging out with me. I'm trying to work my computer a little bit. But, like I said, it's a difficult time, but understand what we're experiencing and what we're all going through, and that you're not alone in this. And there's options, there's resources. So it's not the end of the world for us. And hopefully we'll get everything back together, and at some point in time we'll resume normal. But right now, this is our new normal. So we need to figure out how to cope with it, how to deal with it and be all right. But let's see, I'm reading through my comments, making sure I ain't missing nobody. All right, well, one of the reasons that I pushed this video, I moved it from Mondays, because you got DJs that generally go live on Mondays and Wednesdays. Your president been on the TV talking for 2-3 hours. So I normally would do it at 7 o'clock. But he ain't normally off the TV. So I didn't know some people still watch it. I gave up. I gave up. I just watched the post analysis of it, because, baby. But we're not going to get into that right now. That's not this kind of video. But again, I just wanted to talk to y'all about life under quarantine, see how y'all coping, how you doing, making sure everybody's everybody, because, we are all alone together. And that's pretty much all that I got. And before you leave, please let me get the thumbs up on this video. Let me get a like. Thank you very much. Thank y'all for showing up. Thank you so much for your support. As always, I appreciate your time. Stay safe, stay sanitized, stay sane, stay home. I am Aaron Bull. See you next time.